Luanda is basically the person they have trusted to deal with and mediate between the DRC and Rwanda. So they've had various meetings. They've had dozens of ceasefire attempts, and this is the August 2024 one is the latest one. And it they were supposed to meet in December, but last minute Rwanda decided not to attend because some of Rwanda's conditions, Rwanda did not feel that Congo met the conditions to meet again. And the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, actually said in his annual press conference where he said, I'm not just going to, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not just going to go there and sign pieces of paper and no one is committing to anything.
I am an African.
Recently, I think people have already seen on news that there's a lot of talk about what's going on in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. And one would think that there's actually war between Rwanda and Congo. Not quite, but maybe, but not really. So we're going to look at three aspects of this. We're going to look at the actors, the recent events, and the historical context. And Nathan, you can chime in whenever. But broadly speaking, Congo is this massive country the size of Western Europe, with a population of 102 million people. Um, it's well known, obviously, that Congo has vast resources that are critical for everything from laptops to nuclear weapons. Um, However, Congo's people are not the wealthiest people in the world, to say the least. Out of 180 countries, from the Human Development Index, this is an index that measures levels of education, levels of wealth, individual wealth, and levels of health. It is out of 180 countries, it is out of 192 countries, it is number 180. So it is very, very low. So it's not the rich, it's not very rich, it's quite poor in terms of the people themselves. But what's beneath their ground is enormous, which to a degree is why this conflict is also happening. We have actually done an episode on conflict minerals. So
Right.
when we look at the actors, yeah. So when we look at the actors, on one hand, we have the Democratic Republic of Congo, uh, whose army is the FARDC, right?
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then we have those who are alleged to be affiliated by Rwanda to be affiliated with the DRC, right? Rwanda alleges they're affiliated with the DRC, and the DRC army is the FLDR. So when we look at actors, there's multiple actors involved in this conflict that have been there historically, actually. So on one hand, you have the Democratic Republic of Congo and its army, FARDC, and you have those that are alleged to be affiliated with the Democratic Republic of Congo and its army, particularly by Rwanda, the FDLR. So FDLR is Forces Démocratiques de Libération du Rwanda, the Democratic Forces of the Liberation of Rwanda, right? These are people that
Interesting.
Rwandan government alleges are former genocide perpetrators, and are still trying to perpetrate genocide in Rwanda. For those that do not know, Rwanda had a genocide where 1 million people died in 1994, primarily Tutsis and people that were sympathetic to Tutsis. So these are people that moved now to Eastern Congo from Rwanda and regrouped, and through various generations and training, Rwanda alleges that they are trying to destabilize them, and it's an existential threat to Rwanda. So on the other hand, you have Rwanda itself, and the Rwandan Defense Forces, Rwanda's army. And then you also have M23, also known as March 23. The reason it's called March 23 was because in 2012, there was an attempt for that army to integrate into the full Congolese army. Now, what's M23's big deal? Basically, they are a group of people who are fighting for the rights of Tutsi Congolese, right? So Congo, Eastern Congo has a minority Tutsi population. And these are sometimes known as the Banyamulenge. This is a general term from the Congolese perspective. And we'll talk about this in the historical context as to how they came about. But these are generally the most primary actors. In addition to that, you also have MONUSCO, which is a UN stabilization mission, which has been there for over 10 years and has over 10,000 troops. Although Congolese government has been trying to reduce those amounts of troops, but has extended sort of a narrowed down deployment in the Democratic Republic of Congo has extended it for another 12 months. So basically, 2025 is their extension. In addition to MONUSCO, you also have another troop deployment called SAMI DRC, which is the Southern African Regional Bloc, known as the Southern African Development Community, SADC. So SAMI DRC is basically Southern Africa's mission in the DRC. Congo is a member of multiple regional blocs in Africa because of its central location. Congo is a member of Southern African Bloc, of the Eastern African Bloc, or the Central African Bloc. But in this particular case, the Southern African Bloc has actually got active troops right there, primarily South African troops. So there's almost about 2,000 troops or so. So those are the general actors right now. There's smaller groups that are aligned to M23. There was one group called AFC. I think the acronym Alliance Fleuve Congo, which is the Alliance of the River of Congo, who are closely affiliated with the M23, which the DRC believes Rwanda is heavily backing. And it has been reported that Rwandan defense forces are already in Congolese territory. Yeah. So those are the main actors.
Okay. And as to
why right now, those are the main actors. Yeah.
Okay, so then why do you think this has sparked off like now? Like what was the thing? Because it seemed to be very well for people that don't pay attention to geopolitics like myself, but what seemed to be the thing that sparked this that brought this together?
So when we look at the recent events, right? When we look at the recent events, there's a number of things that have happened. So if we're just to go and mention the few things that have happened in the last few weeks, for example, or let's maybe start with the last few months. There was a ceasefire agreement that was agreed on in August. Many people will be asking, oh, what's being actually done in Congo? So when I mentioned SAMI DRC is part of the Southern Africa's attempt to fix that situation. And it's known as the Luanda process. Luanda is the capital city of Angola. Why is it Luanda? Because the AU decided that the president of Angola, João Lourenço, would be basically the host and the champion for solving the situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Why Angola? Angola is part of the southern region, and it's also part of this organization called the Great Lakes region. There's a regional bloc called Great Lakes region. So countries like Congo, Tanzania, Zambia, all the big lakes like Tanganyika, Lake Victoria, many of those countries are involved in it. So Luanda is basically the person they have trusted to deal with and mediate between the DRC and Rwanda. So they've had various meetings. They've had dozens of ceasefire attempts. And this is the August 2024 one is the latest one. And they were supposed to meet in December. But last minute, Rwanda decided not to attend because some of Rwanda's conditions, Rwanda did not feel that Congo met the conditions to meet again. And the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, actually said in his annual press conference where he said, I'm not just going to, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not just going to go there and sign pieces of paper and no one is committing to anything. And then, of course, Congo side says, Congo basically wants M23 eliminated and they do not want to negotiate with M23 and they want Rwanda to stop backing M23. Right.
I believe correct me if I'm wrong, but one of those conditions were that Paul Kagame wanted Felix Tshisekedi, the president of Congo, to actually meet with M23 leaders and
to negotiate.
However, Felix Tshisekedi said that he would not negotiate with rebels. Basically, the same sort of this similar narrative that you see with maybe Western governments that say we don't negotiate with terrorists. Yeah. So from Congo's vantage point, this is a terrorist organization. So you do not negotiate with terrorists. And Tshisekedi ran on a strong platform that he's going to eliminate M23. So Rwanda, on the other hand, wants Congo to negotiate with M23. And they also want to eliminate FDLR, which they believe is closely aligned with the army of Congo, right? So that piece, so just imagine being Angola and it's just like, bruh, what's going on? What do I do?
You guys are not coming. Yeah. And I feel really bad. I feel so sorry for Angola. They have really tried. They've gone above and beyond.